Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Glad to have you. A couple of things I need to do here in Firelink before we get really ready. I gotta pick what I forgot about in the swamp and start Act 2. So let's get those couple of things done. Oh wait, I should level. I'm gonna level up before I deal with the master.
Welcome home, speaker. Very well, then take note.
Let's see here. That's done, that's done. Oh, I can't level up anyway.
Well, Ashen One.
Hey Dave. How's it going? Yeah, I knew. He wasn't gonna swing at all. Yeah. I'm doing alright. Should have used a bigger shield to just block the master, but whatever. So this is actually just a loading screen. It's probably the most sloppy bit of loading, although I kind of appreciate it. It's just so that you can come into the Firelink Shrine really fast from everywhere else and not have to load the outside until you absolutely need it. I had no stamina left to do the riposte. Hey, Vodka. Motsky, how's it going? Toby, what's up? Yeah. It doesn't help that, like, his AI will stick in his parry stance for, like, ever. Memeton. So, what did we get? We got a few different things. One of which is pretty cheeky, and the other one is interesting. It's the Uchi, which has a long and storied time in Dark Souls. The first time you got it off of Yuria from Merchant. And I'm pretty sure that's a translation error, because he calls it Yuria, and R and L is the same sound in Japanese. And so there's always a Yuria in a modern FromSoft game. A unique katana, characterized by the fine craftsmanship of an eastern land where it was forged. The finely sharpened blade cuts flesh like butter and causes bleeding, but breaks easily as a result. Not for the master, though. The master is the master. Speaking of the master, a terribly worn shirt. Men are fond of weaving tales to explain the raggedness of their garb. My sixth sense warned me of danger, and I danced between flurries of blades, unscathed, but alas, my clothes went to tatters. It's pretty cheeky. Alright, that's done. I have to do the tree jump and dump some things on the crows. Then I'm going to get the Sage Scroll, and then we're going to start Act 2, which is the Catacombs. Still wearing Nameless Knight's attire. And I'm getting lost a little bit. Should be, what, this way? Yeah. Sometimes I stop paying attention. Should get a seed of a giant tree. Everybody prepare your Fs for the seed. Rip that. Ever since they they nerfed the crap out of the seeds, it's just been Fs everywhere. Man. Yeah, F for the seed of a giant tree. It's 45 seconds or something, right? So it's like, whatever. It should have been 90 IMO. If they were gonna make it time-based, I think it should have been like 90 seconds. I know, this isn't Dark Souls 2 where clothes has any real effect, but... There we go. Yeah, platforming in a Souls game. There is something I want to talk about with regards to PicklePee and Pump-A-Rum's names, because they are not chosen out of random. They come from a poem, like 18th century poem, I think. I'll read it. I'm gonna have to do a quick like Google search and get it, but they come from a poem. Get a twinkle. Did I leave one of these? Pretty sure I did. Yeah, I already gave them one. interesting that it's provocative that a vertebrae shackle is linked to Lucatiel in the way that it is. What else am I supposed to leave? Firebomb? Okay, I already gave them a firebomb. I think I gave them everything. Let me get the crystal lizard back there, and then I'll do that quick Google search. You'd think I'd have this prepared already, but, you know, pro streaming. Alright. That's all we can do without grabbing the key. Alright, let's see here. Man, what did we do without wireless controllers? Alright. This is the Ceremonial Band by James Reeves. And I'll just read the first two stanzas. The old king of Dorchester, he had a little orchestra, and never did you hear such a ceremonial band. Toodly-too, said the flute, deedly-reedly, said the fiddle, for the fiddles and the flutes were the finest in the land. The old king of Dorchester, he had a little orchestra, and never did you hear such a ceremonial band. Pump-A-Rum, said the drum, toodly-too, said the flute, deedle-reedly, said the fiddle, for the fiddles and the flutes were the finest in the land. The old king of Dorchester, and never did you hear such a ceremonial band. PicklePee, said the fife, Pump-A-Rum, said the drum, toodly-too, said the flute, deedly-reedly, said the fiddle, for the fiddles and the flutes were the finest in the land. Let me skip one. The old king of Dorchester, he had a little orchestra, and never did you hear such a ceremonial band. Pa-para, said the trumpet. Zoom-ba-zoom, said the bass. PicklePee, said the fife. Pump-A-Rum, said the drum. Toodly-too, said the flute. Deed-a-reedle, said the fiddle, for the fiddles and the flutes were the finest in the land. Oh, the fiddles and the flutes were the finest in the land. It's from an old 19th century. Yeah. So they they definitely referenced the drum and the fife. It's one of those repetition poems. It's meant for kids, but like it's a 19th century poem. And I guess Pump-A-Rum is named for the drums of war. And so there you go. Let's check out some things. We picked this up just now. Mask attached to a ceremonial hat, a hollow once fought valiantly with this mask, but feared the fating of herself, and implored a comrade remember her name. Perhaps this is why this gentleman's mask is named after a woman. We picked up the Xanthous Crown last stream. Crown supposedly made an imitation of a divine creature of Lucatiel, land of ancient golden sorceries. Xanthous clothing is a mark of a researcher of lost sorceries, and the oversized crown is emblematic of their work. Such a curious pursuit, and surely nothing to be ashamed of. We also picked up the Archdeacon White Crown worn by an Archdeacon of the Cathedral of the Deep, presented solely to delegates of the gods. Of the 3 Archdeacons of the Deep, one cast off his white crown and left the cathedral to stand by Aldrich. We picked the Antiquated Dress sewn in a long-lost fashion. The elaborately embroidered ivory-colored silk is imbued with ancient magic power. No protection is offered by this garment, as it was never intended for battle. Of the 3 Archdeacons of the Deep, one stood over Aldrich's castle with hope that he would return someday. And this is a sign of the Way of White's highest rank, which means that the corruption ran very, very deep. What do I want to put on today? Actually, I did pick up the Drang silk, right? Yeah. Dark leggings of the Dark Wraiths, relics of a small country that fell to the dark long ago, look as if they might crumble to dust at any moment. The Dark Wraiths were the oldest of the Red Eye invaders, and rumored to have served a primordial serpent. Yeah, the Archdeacons are the Way of White. Remember, there is no helmet for the Drang armor because, as you remember from Dark Souls 2, the helmet to this set only went to a very select few, and there was probably very little in circulation. So, the ones that survived the thousands of years to this epoch probably don't exist anymore. And besides, that helmet was ugly. The end. Alright, I have to grab the Sage Scroll out of the desert, and then we can keep going. Yeah. Actually, I don't want to say too much about it because it was just yesterday. Game of Thrones reminded me of a conversation from like season 2 or 3 yesterday that fits into all of this fairly nicely. But I don't want to talk about it right yet because like it was just yesterday. Actually, yeah. Could have gone that way, have. Yeah. Don't mind me, just trying to remember where it was. Well, there's a shiny, so let's go up there. That was mean. Tree dude. I just made a huge circle. I thought it was on this building. And so, like, the gist of what I was reminded of was people tell themselves the same story over and over again until they believe the lie. Could have sworn it was nearby the dress. Whoops. Where's the mock emote when you need it? Yeah, Pyro's actually the only... I abused the crap out of the mock emote. Dang you, tree dude! My quarrel is not with you! Exactly. That's the point, though. It's like one big game of telephone where it's like you grow up thinking you know things, but what you know has always been a lie, and you'll never know the truth because the truth is just too hard to like know. It's by the fairest tree, dude. No. Maybe I'll reset my bonfire over here then. I was just looking for the sage scroll. Like, I know where it is, but I don't know where it is. It's against a wall, but I forget which wall. With all the dead things, and it's by the fairest dudes. There it is. And then we're going to head off into now that I've made everybody angry. Whatever. Alright, so let's head off to Carthus. Because we did beat the Abyss Watchers last time. Yeah. The mushroom dudes is probably one of the more tragic things. Again, don't be Miyazaki's favorite enemy type, because you're gonna get so wrecked. Miyazaki's favorite enemy types are the Corvians, and then after the Corvians, it's the mushroom dudes. I loved that the mushroom dudes had like loon, the loon noises for them. Like, I don't know if you know if you're Canadian, you'll know it, but it's a bird. It's a loon. They make a specific noise, and the mushroom dudes in Dark Souls 1 made that noise. Yeah. Don't be Miyazaki's favorite enemy. Miyazaki's going to destroy the crap out of them. So we enter the Catacombs of Carthus, the domain of somebody. No, I'm not Canadian. I'm from the Northeast United States, so. Yeah, I like the thing. I must destroy it. Probably Miyazaki. So, a couple of landmarkings, since I keep forgetting to go get the stupid binoculars. Right above my head is like right below it, is the skeleton ball. The best enemy that ever was in Dark Souls. Down there is one of the Carthus big dudes. He has a bunch of people around there. One of the stupidest rings to get is on a pillar over that way. It's a new game plus. You have to like jump from that bridge to a pillar and grab the ring. It's dumb. But I'm actually excited. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the Catacombs of Carthus, but I am a big fan because a lot of the pyro stuff is here. So, we'll probably be able to fill out the build today. If you can see this guy, he's got glowing eyes, which suggests he's got a second life. Yes. Scary, spooky skeletons. Funnily enough, if you've got a blessed weapon, they won't come back up, obviously, because blessed weapons. These guys are the worst at, like, delaying all of their attacks. Skeletons try real hard in Dark Souls. They're like, oh hey, they're just making sure their head is on straight. You know, you have to look good when you go and attack people. I mean, that's the whole thing about Fashion Souls, right? I mean, you gotta look good when you go attack people. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if your head was on backwards when you came back up? I think the closest you get is the deep weapons. The deep and dark weapons. And nothing gets a cool rewrite to their weapon with infusion. I remember the Sever in Dark Souls 1. If you made it Chaos, the whole item description changes. Eat it. I don't remember it completely offhand, but it makes a massive change if you make it like a cult. It was because the server was a ritualistic blessed weapon or something like that, and then it changes to it changes. Yeah, kill a fancy hat. The fancy hat is actually your necromancer. It is what is left of the necromancers. And all they know how to do is to roll a ball up and down some stairs. So I'm gonna go to, if you don't realize what I'm doing, I'm going straight to the bonfire. I mean, this skeleton must be really embarrassed. He couldn't even, like, put his head on. He's like, oh, you caught me half asleep or something. So some of these dudes are throwing little bombs, sort of like hexing urns, and we don't get this, but, like, it tosses out some affinities. Some humanities. Very similar to, like, hexing urns. That was a... I mean, if you were here for my Bloodborne playthrough, you'll know that I really like the Chalice dungeons. It's just, this is very Chalice dungeony. Which undead giant, though? The chain variant is probably the worst for me. So there's the Carthus Milkring. It's a variant of the Simpleton's Ring from Dark Souls 2. Yeah, Mason Hook. Gentlemen. All right. Yeah, the chain guy is like kind of the worst. Let's read Carthus Milkring. Ring worn by warriors of the Sand Kingdom Carthus. Slightly boosts dexterity and obscures the wearer while rolling. The sword technique of Carthus allows for fluid movement with a curved sword. Masters of the technique are said to dazzle their opponents by moving as weightlessly as a grain of sand. They live for their High Lord Volnir, conqueror of the most kingdoms known to their people. Oh yeah, these guys, they're having the time of their lives. They're just going up and down. They're like, yeah! It's like crowd surfing. It's like crowd surfing at a concert. Look at these guys. This is it's peak FromSoft humor. Oh man, I love puns. Gentlemen, hello? Did they seriously iframe that? I love puns. You just don't understand. I positively love them. Mostly I think I love the reaction puns give other people, especially those who super hate them. I'm like, I love that. The funniest bit of a pun is their reaction to other people. Come on, lock on. Oh, it's the best. My sister hates them. So, like, I'll find the worst puns ever just to see her, like, groan and stuff. It's the best. Remember, in Dark Souls 3, you're not stuck in a room with them. They're stuck in a room with you. So, here's a bit of landmarking. There's where the ball is going. There's the lower half of the zone, and you can tell there's a thing right over there. We're not going to deal with that right yet. We have a couple of events that we skipped over to get to the bonfire. To be honest, I probably should just warp back up to the top. This is what I'm going to do. So, Carthus. What do you guys think about Carthus? What are some of your thoughts about, like, Carthus and its Sand Kingdom? Do you think it has anything to do with Jugo, which we learned about is also a desert kingdom, or is Jugo one of the conquered kingdoms Volnir put together? What does everybody think? Too many ninjas, i.e. any. There's Carthus Rouge, which is our first one. The mainstay of my luck build. Adds a lacerating effect. Highly viscous scarlet plant secretions. Temporarily applies bleeding. Effect to right hand weapon. Associated with the warriors of Carthus. Those whose blades take on scarlet hues of both this sanguine substance and the splatters of their victims' blood. Yes, Benhard is from Jugo. The desert sorceresses are from Jugo. There's a whole bunch of Jugo. You see those pillars right in front of me? In Dark Soul, in New Game Plus or Double Plus, there's a ring on top of one of them. Those are the pillars I was talking about earlier. Pain in the butt. Look at this guy with edge walk. This is your hint that there's more to come. especially if you come down this way. Psycho Crusher! There's Carthus Pyromancy Tome, which is really what I came back up here for. Well, that cataclysmic event is the undead just blossoming across the lands. For a lot of civilizations, the rise of the undead was cataclysmic. Especially since they're... Yeah, definitely Paris Catacombs. Although, as I... Like, the Way of White made a point of saying that this is bad. We need to go hunt them down. And that traveled... Those guys I will trade with all day. Well, you know what? That's actually not quite true. There is a mortician in the undead settlement. The problem with the mortician is he got murdered by the evangelists. So there was no more mortician to go around burying people in the graveyard. So there wasn't anybody with the knowledge to bury anybody left in the undead settlement. And that was probably by design, by the evangelists. Alright, so that's this part. Oh right, Carthus Pyromancy Tome. Oh right, and the Sage Scroll. Scroll containing sorceries of the Crystal Sages. Give to a sorcerer to learn sorceries of the Sages. As any sorcerer knows, sorcery is a talent, and these sorceries were refined to nurture a very special talent. Carthus Pyromancy Tome. Pyromancy Tome from Carthus containing pyromancies created for battle. Give to the old pyromancer to learn advanced pyromancies of the Carthus. Carthus pyromancy is developed in isolation from other forms, explaining their divergent evolution. Although one of the Dark Souls 2's pyromancies is in Carthus Pyromancy Tome, which makes me name a soldier. The soul packet is really just a light source. Yeah, seriously. These... Okay, so... The thing about skeletons in Dark Souls... just because you become undead doesn't mean you don't rot. So, the Curse of Undeath doesn't mean that you're going to keep your muscles and skin forever. The Curse of Undeath is in your blood. And where does blood manufacture its red blood cells? In the skeletons. So the Curse of Undeath isn't just skin deep. It goes all the way to the bone. And so eventually, if you're undead long enough, you're going to lose your skin, you're going to lose your muscle, you're going to lose your innards, and you're just going to be this undead skeleton who's just craving wine like that Skelebro in The Last Unicorn. That's a reference I don't expect anyone here to get. Yeah, you won't be this pretty forever. God, that was... Growing up, that was actually my favorite scene. And remember, blood is really important in the Souls universe. It turns out to be extremely important as a fuel source in the Souls universe. I'm sure somebody's gonna post a quick GIF. Oh, I'm out. Out the juice. AI pathing, the MOV right there. Oh, and just gonna keep trying that? Okay, sure, fine, whatever. This soul packet is really just here to get you to see that you can snipe that guy. I'm so old. Drunk Skelebro, man. He really wanted his drink. '40s isn't old. I'm only 33. I'm a year younger than E and B, actually. Yeah, a lot of people say that. A lot of people say my voice sounds really young. Yeah, lock-on just goes kind of nuts. Although, I don't know. For some reason, I'm much more tolerant of this lock-on than I am Dark Souls 2's lock-on. Dark Souls 2 lock-on, man, gives me conniptions.
Oh, hello. How very fortunate. Have you seen my companion, Horace? To my shame, I was snared by a trap, and we've become separated. I've not been able to find him since.
No?
Yes, I see. Horace is a valiant knight. He can look after himself, no question. He's probably searching for me right now, with twice the resolve. If you happen upon him, please tell him that I remained in the catacombs, and I will lay prism stones to guide him, as always. Please send him word, I beg of you. May the flames guide your way.
In my essay, Dream Chasers, I talk about how Anri doesn't have faith in himself or herself, and they really rely on Horace to be like an externalization of their own strength. And you can really see that here when they say that Horace is probably searching with twice the resolve. Even though what really happens is Horace falls down and just kind of gives up and just kind of waits. Horace wasn't searching at all, he was just kind of waiting. But Anri is kind of looking for him too, and he asks you if you've seen him, and you're like, I haven't seen Horace. Or you can just lie to them. But Anri has no idea as to their own strength and as to their own leadership. Like, strength isn't just brute force power. And strength doesn't mean like going around bashing people in the head all the time. There's many different sorts of power. There's many different sorts of courage, but Anri doesn't recognize the courage and the power and the strength within themselves, which is emblematic in how they talk about Horace being better than they are, or searching with, quote, twice the resolve. And that's probably the real question about what is a king and what they're actually looking at. What is power in souls? What makes a powerful individual in the souls? What makes a leader? And like Horace gives up. He just straight gives up and becomes hollow, which proves Anri wrong, but Anri doesn't come face to face with it. You do, and you just say, I haven't seen him. Sorry. Whoops. Well, I'm gonna die now. Or maybe not. So, like, I go into more details about that in Dream Chasers on my Medium account. The link should be down below if you haven't seen it. But it is part and parcel of the tragedy of Anri. In all three of their endings, they end up being either a pawn of somebody, or they do something and they don't understand, and yeah. Like, Anri never realizes the courage and strength within themselves, and that's like tragic in its own way. I should do this the simple way.
Ashen One.
Yeah, they don't even consider the possibility of Horus giving up. And the truth of the matter is, Horus falls down, immediately gives up, and immediately goes hollow. What?
Very well.
Anri, come on.
Then touch the darkness within me. Take nourishment.
Yes, he's such a sense of strength that it's ridiculous a little bit. So now that those three are at 20, attunement only needs 4 more levels. I can start throwing in faith and intelligence. Let's go over to Cornix. Say hi. We have a present for him.
Ah, there you are, unkindled one. I am pleased to have a pupil as dedicated as you. Well, well. I've never seen anything like this. This inscription. This tome is from the Catacombs. Fascinating. On this day, the teacher learns alongside the pupil.
So he's heard of the catacombs, but he's suggested he's never been there, or it's been too far away, or it's been so secretive that he doesn't know anything about it. What we have now available to us is, I think Acid Surge is new. Carthus Beacon is new. And Carthus Flame Arc. Carthus Flame Arc is of a special interest because it used to be, and it still uses the icon for the flame weapon from Dark Souls 2, which you get off of the Lost Sinner's soul. Which says, Pyromancy of Carthus of the Sands reinforces right weapon with flame. Warriors of Carthus favored supplemental pyromancy such as this, which was used to enhance the curved blades of its swordsmen. Grandpas. Giant grandpa dad. Acid Surge says, Pyromancy of Carthus of the Sands emits an acid which corrodes weapons and armor. Carthus's swordsmen attached great value to victory, and would not shun the use of such pyromancies. For where is the honor in death and scored bones? Everyone say hi to Loki. So yeah, you get the Scraping Spear in spell form, because basically Carthus is a bunch of people who are like Braun. And Carthus Beacon, the most obscure pyromancy developed in Carthus of the Sands. Damage increases with consecutive attack. Carthus's aggression has been likened to an uncontrollable fire, and since ancient times its beacon has been used as a signal for war. I've actually never used that. I'm not sure how good this is. Is it similar to Pontiff's right eye? Or left eye? But I have used this, and this is pretty great. Eventually I'll be picking this all up, but I can afford this right now, so. Yeah, it's definitely beast blood pellet kind of thing. Oh, is it bad? That's too bad. Reinforce that.
Do not be gone for long. What is it?
So, any idea how, like, the Lost Sinner's soul pyromancy ends up in Carthus? I kind of do too, and then I get hungry.
Back again, I see.
Bacon.
I suppose this means
Tasty.
sorceress. Oh my. This is stupendous. And the undead legion of Farron possesses sorceries quite unknown. Thank you for upholding your end of the bargain. I doubt I ever would have made this discovery alone. Now, let us Let's unravel the thing, so you may put these new sorceries to use.
So Orbeck, he uses his standoffishness as a bit of armor. He doesn't like getting really close to people because he's also an assassin as part of Venheim's work-study program. And so you can't get too close to people when you're part of the Venheim work-study program as an assassin, because you might end up having to kill them for your work-study program. But now that he's free of Venheim, he starts to open up as you get him scrolls and stuff. Yeah, murdering the competition. So you get things like Farron Dart now, and Great Farron Dart, and Farron Hail. You also get the Great Swords and Farron Flash Swords. It's definitely the work-study program. There's an anime called Assassin Classroom or something. It's pretty funny.
Come again.
I don't know if it's an actual anime. It could just be a manga that turned into a live-action film. I only remember the manga. I haven't actually watched the anime. Hey, is Leonhard here yet? I should go see hi. Leonhard should be here because I have Pale Tongues in my possession. Ah, there he is.
Unkindled, are we? And fast on the trail of the Lords of Scotland. Then these red eyes are for you. Use them to pillage embers and briefly heighten your strength for your duty.
I would really like his fashion more if it didn't have that slight wrinkle right on his stomach that makes it look like he's got a little paunch. Otherwise, this is the best cape in the game.
Pillage embers, what else, sir?
Yeah, that's what it's called, Assassination Classroom. Alright, so we did get the event up top, so we can just go straight down there. Leonhard is a provocative character, and we'll get to it if I remember the steps in his quest after getting the full orb. Oh, that's nice of you, little bowl. I hate these jumpy dudes. They're the worst. More from soft, goofy humor. The chewy center is a crab. Yeah, pot shots at Hat Skelly. It looks like that other guy is shooting arrows tipped with chaos. I like their design though. I like the weird jewelry they got there. Hate that guy comes back around. Yeah, they have a super cool moveset, but they're super annoying. So I'm going to reset because I only have 3 Estus left. And we have a new set of ashes, which is the most striking one. Grave of Warden's ashes. And I'll say why in a minute. Umbral ash of the Grave Warden of the Catacombs of Carthus. With this, the Shrine Maid will prepare new items. The old man began as a squire, carrying his master's accoutrements. He ended his days a grave warden and carried them still. So, I want to say that this is Wolnir. Like, this is Wolnir's ashes. And so I think the story is the old man began as a squire. Wolnir began as a squire carrying his master's accoutrement. And then Wolnir went on a conquering rampage. Conquered everybody, thinking crowns were going to be his saving grace because he heard something about crowns being the saving grace from the curse. And then he ended up conquering his masters. And then he made his master's accoutrement part of his own regalia, and he still carried them still. It seems part of that bit of irony. If you guys want to come in, you can come in, but I'm not gonna do Wolnir tonight. I'm going into the smoldering lake, I think. No, this is not Dark Souls 1 where you can phase through a boulder. I'm out of stamina. Actually, I'm not doing, oh wait, no. You mean the boss, Old Demon King. I might be doing Old Demon King. I will be summoning Cuculus for that because I want her armor. But if you also want to be summoned for that, that'd be cool too. But we'll see if we even get down there enough to do all that. Because there's a lot to do down there, actually. That lizard's never gonna learn. First, though, I've got to die to Sorig. I also got to pick up the ring on the other side. So that thunk, if you hear it, if you don't know what that is, that's counter hit damage. Just chipping away. Let's go reset at the bonfire. My thanks. Which is war cry in Dark Souls 2. Emote lore, guys. Emote lore. So, the ring we just got. Also from Dark Souls 2, specifically Lam Lois. Ring of the Savage, Sorig, more commonly known as the Night Slayer. Enemy lose more stamina when guarding attacks. Long ago, Sorig engaged the guardians of an ancient city in a bloody confrontation, and returned with their rings as his prize, still frozen on their dismembered fingers. Huh, I can use that spear. And the club. Yeah, Sorig, that's gross. Alright, I think that's everything but the blood ring, which we have to go grab, and then we'll head downstairs to Smoldering Lake. Although I might have to make a trip back to Majula. Not Majula. Firelink. This is how I've killed your brethren for time immemorial. Who else remembers going through Dark Souls 1, the depths, and just hitting combustion on these things until they coughed up green titanite shards? Bone wheels. I'm super not impressed. Especially after your poor showing in Dark Souls 2. Yeah, I pretty much, like, went about killing these guys in the depths, in that one hallway. In Dark Souls 1. No, nobody has poise in Dark Souls 3. That's the real issue. Even the enemies are like, Miyazaki, please. That's why R1 spamming is so effective in Dark Souls 3. So this would be a trap. While I'm out. Time to switch to some fire bombos. Yeah, and like the problem is not a whole lot of enemies actually use hyper armor. Like, NPC invaders will, but like, normal enemies, not so much. So that's the blood ring. It's a sister ring to this one. Ring worn by warriors of the Sand Kingdom Carthus boosts rolling invincibility at the cost of defense. The sword technique Carthus allows for fluid movement with a curved sword. Masters of the technique are said to dazzle their opponents by moving as weightlessly as a grain of sand. They live for their High Lord Volnir, conqueror of the most kingdoms known to their people. Despite, like, FromSoft having their moments of being super extra, for instance, they will, like, render a city that you never go to. I'm looking at you, Dark Souls 1 from Firelink Shrine. They do some really clever cutting of corners every once in a while.
Oh, hello. We meet again. Have you seen Horace anywhere? Oh.
Nope.
Yes, I've searched high. Oh.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to move this. What was that you said, Anri?
Oh, Horace. Where have you run off to? Have you abandoned me? No. What a horrible thought.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure they wanted to do Northern Limit, but, like, Northern Limit, they just ran out of time. I mean, there's a lot in Demon Souls that suggests they wanted to do that Archstone. I mean, it's even in the opening cinematic, which I'm sure FromSoft CGI did first, or did way before they actually finished, because FromSoft has a separate CGI team. If you look at FromSoft's corporation website, like, you'll see it. Their Koshiki website. There's FromSoft, there's FromSoft CGI team, and there's From Sound Records. And so they'll do that. This is a really slick little thing. I remember the, like, what, 2 weeks between the Japanese release and the American release, I was watching Potts, who's over on Twitch somewhere too, and he like found this, and I'm like, that's pretty slick. Turning the bridge into a ladder. Alright, guys. Place your bets. I want to see if the Mimic can kill the demon this time. Sometimes the Mimic can kill a demon. Sometimes the demon kills the Mimic. I want to see what happens. I'll summon you, Mimitim. But I want to see if the if the Mimic can do it. Mimic-kun. Mimic-kun, please. Shoot. Ah, damn it. I had the wrong thing. Sorry. Oh, the demon was going to kill the Mimic! Oh, that's too bad. I had the wrong thing equipped. That's the downside of, like, always having auto hide hub. You, like, forget you're not always on that. Good job, Mimic-kun. I really need to take some ginkgo biloba sometime. Yeah, but he took like a crap ton of damage. He was in with like last 20 something odd %. Schrodinger's victory. That, my friends, was Schrodinger's victory. Oh no, the Mimic died! Oh wait, wait! Magic Pixel? Aw, Mimic-kun. No lie, I've seen that Mimic kill this demon by itself. It was probably the most hilarious thing, because like I was co-oping with some real life friends of mine, and I'm like, Guys, take a look at this. And we just sat back and watched the mimic kill the demon. That mimic had like no idea what to do. Make sure I didn't lose anything up here. Alright. Alright, Mimitim, let's head off. No, people I know IRL. He wanted to do like an Aladdin run, and so he like made Jafar or something. It was actually pretty funny. Let me grab this ring. It's important. Alright. I need to throw this ring on now. Oh, poor Mimitim. I'm sorry. So, we picked up a couple of things, and one thing I already put on, but we shall read it. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters, scorched by the flame of chaos, taught humans the art of pyromancy and offered them this ring. It looks like the orange shard ring, actually. It even has a little skull in the gem. Greatly boosts pyromancies. Every pyromancer is familiar with the parable that tells of the witches espousing the need to fear the flame and teaching the art of pyromancy to men in hopes that they might learn to control it. Alright. Let us go kill Horus or something. So this is a smoldering leak. Burning, still smoldering. Got a giant Avalon. Lorethrough National Park Service. Hey, Horus. Mimitim with yeah, Mimitim can't help with this fight. I'm so early. I need to like slow down. Jeez. I need to stop being fancy. What just died? The Llewellyn shield, actually probably my favorite shield in the game. I usually like throwing a simple infusion on it and sticking it on my back as a battery. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what we're. Let me take this bow off. Although I think maybe Nipple Shield is, at least in my mind, easier to parry with. Oh yeah, they put that message there on purpose. It's only a yellow bug pellet, so it's not like it's the biggest thing, but it is still kind of annoying. Let's go pick up the speckled plate ring from behind the wall. Alright, let me hold on a second. Where's that wall? Yeah, the Solaire worm. Solaire worm. It is a bad theory. It's funny though. Speaking of Solaire, you know his brother is Bronn in Game of Thrones, right? Like his IRL brother. So like the voice actor of Solaire's like IRL brother is yeah, pretty much. One second, I'm gonna use the yellow trotches. Dun, 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 dun. Lightning Stake. Undead Bone Shard. Let me go hit this bonfire. And I'll go pick up loot some places. Man, the lightning trotches actually lasts a pretty long time. So this is soaring. Alright, let's go explore now that I have this all set up. We'll probably end with killing that guy down there. Although I don't have any hidden blessings. Poor Mitten. I can't rest at the bonfire. Rip. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna pop you out for a second. I'm gonna dump these souls. And I'll be right back. Let me grab a couple of levels and then maybe some pyros.
Welcome home, speak thine. Very well, then take none.
I can only get 2 levels out of this. Yeah.
Farewell, Ashen One.
Hey, thanks for the follow. Or OG, thanks for the follow. Welcome. Nice to have you. Alright, let me go buy some pyros and reinforce my glove a little bit more. Nah, can't do that. Learn pyromancies. Grab this one.
Do not be gone.
That's that. I think I'm going to use this one because I can't use Flame Arc yet. This is Lightning Strike, a lost dragon slaying miracle. Strikes with a stake of lightning. The tale describes the lost practices of ancient dragon slayers who found that in order to pierce dragon scale, lightning should not be hurled as a bolt, but rather be thrust as a stake directly into the dragon's hide to be truly effective. Yes. And the bow and arrow miracle you get in the Ring City comes from a Celtic myth from one of the goddesses of war from there. But it too puts it into dispute whether that was all they used or all they did. I'm gonna have to fix my command line later. This is my levels now, my stats. Pick up Toby. Pick up Mimitin. Lots of axes. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Let's go deal with the lower catacombs. Yeah. I actually really like the new miracle, the bow and arrow miracle. But lore-wise, it adds a sense of, well, you can think it is, but it probably isn't. These guys are... I love the design of the last demons of this place. I'm actually really sad that the spell you get out of Ashes of Ariandel is kind of a watered down version of that spell, of the orb turret thing. Yeah, F for that. My thoughts right now on Pyromancer is Fireball is a really good PvE kind of weapon. Does a little bit of damage, but it's not going to be your main damage dealer. It's a good workhorse though. That was totally my fault. That looks so weird. Did he really get you both? Yeah. That's where this is going to be. This is going to 40-40. Like, I'm not gonna make, like, my final decision until I'm, like, finished with the build. That Gru, man. He's gonna go to the Gru, like, lunchroom and he's gonna be like, dude. Alright, we'll go around. I got them both. Hitboxes, man. Hitboxes. this build is going to end up being Onyx Blade. Wish I had a lightning thing. Grab that. Undead Bone Shard. So this looks a little bit like a mausoleum. Like you've got statues to Asylum Demon and Taurus Demon. Here's your clue that there's Quelaag stuff and a big spider. Right under that is some lavas. That way is the rat, this way is the next bonfire. This is a... Good job fighting a helpless Gru. Get burned. Yeah, like, how's to say they're not very talkative, which is a shame? In New Game Double Plus, there's a ring right there. I think it's Fire Clutch. It'd be like sitting on this guy's arm. So if you like to derive like lore from placement of the +1 and +2 rings, that would be one of the rings there. Most war, and this is the political scientist in me, most war is usually fought over resources in some way, shape, or form. And the decline of demon civilization to the point where they're pretty much almost dead and their fire is waning is probably because it probably sparked whatever war occurred between all the demons to result in like their civil war thing. Because it does seem like they had a civil war, like they had a big falling out, and it's probably because of a lack of resources, and the haves and have-nots, they get desperate enough that they go to war with one another. Just making sure. Pick up that ember. Yeah, maybe just everything runs on souls. So it is quite possible that they were just running out of souls. Ow. Well, I'm just gonna reset. Jeepers, that guy was not messing around. Guy was a hero. Well, that was something. Mimitim has a big door. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Those doors open the way to victory. Alright, let's go get more stuff. There's a chaos gem this way, I believe. Sounds good. Should be pretty much almost done. Need to get some Pyromancy tomes. Wow, camera. I'll have Titanite shards for days. Nah, he's just been around for a while. So the only really important thing left is getting Quelana's tome. There's a bunch of other things to get to in the super lower catacombs. Hey Proams, thanks for the follow. Welcome. I should have moss if you need it, Memitim. Yeah. It's behind this hidden wall. Come back around this way. Best unintentional emote. So the fair lady is the spooter, more or less. Could be Quelaag, who after her defeat at the hands of the chosen undead. Hunter 1266-7, thanks for the follow. Could be that, but it's probably more or less the fair lady. It's probably the most obvious answer that this is the fair lady, and then there's Quelana, sisters till the very end. Yeah. Very much so. The other important bit, and I'm not going to get this right now because it takes a bit of finagling, is all the way back there is the white hair thing. It's a talisman. And there should be something else nearby too. What are you doing, Mimitim? Rip. F Mimitim. I'll probably do that by myself when I have flash like everything together. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they blocked that. If it hit Nico Doga, they blocked that pretty quick. Oh, Bishop 770. Thanks for the follow. Welcome. Like, if Nico Doga said anything about it, then it got patched real fast. Like, the funny thing I talked about the other day when a bunch of the Japanese Souls community figured out that if you like stacked all of the Oh, I'm gonna die to rats. Yeah. Doga? Nico Doga? Nico Doga translates to smile video. And Nico Doga was created by the guy who created 2chan. So it's basically 2chan with video, and it is the most popular video sharing service in Japan. More popular than YouTube in Japan. The American version of Nikodo is bad, so I always force my computer to list it as being in Japan because the Japanese comments are hilarious. Because only if you're in Japan will you see the Japanese comments, and the English version is really bad. But yeah, it was made by the guy who created 2chan, and all that stuff. But like, it is the most popular sharing service in Japan, and like, if it landed there, it'll get patched. Like, everybody's talking about how Sega Atlas didn't do crap to enforce their like streaming thing. In Japan, when it came out and people were trying to stream it on Nico Doga, Sega went to town. Went to town. Like, they ripped Nico Doga apart. But that's besides the point. Hey, is Purim. Anyway, my point is, there was a video, and it landed on YouTube also, that like a bunch of Japanese Souls guys, they figured out that if you like stacked Frostbite, Toxic, and a whole bunch of status effects, and drove the stamina to 0, it would blank out the boss's stamina, and they wouldn't be able to do anything. Because, like, technically the bosses don't have a stamina bar, but if you drive something to 0 stamina, it'll be 0 stamina. And so, like, the bosses would just stop doing what they were doing. And I think this video landed on YouTube also, and it got patched very quickly. Very, very quickly. Yep, that's what's up. Like, they would stack Toxic, Frostbite, and a bunch of other like status ailments that would lower your stamina. and it would drive the stamina down to 0, which would 0 is 0 no matter what you are, and so it would make the boss freeze. Thanks for the follow, whoever that was. I didn't look fast enough to see the name. Sorry about that. I'll grab the email when I get back. The Japanese video has a lot of information on it, but it's all in Japanese. So I know enough to get myself in trouble. I'm not fluent at all, but I can read better than I can speak it. So I'd have to stop the video so I can read the screen, and it was pretty funny. If there's interest in it, I can teach you what I know on Discord, but I think Duolingo's about to go live with their class too. So I kind of like this bit of brick here, the biological organism, and I'm not sure what it is for. Is it for the spiders or the basilisks? But it's a nice little callback to the weird biological thing in Dark Souls 1. Yeah, they're nests, but it doesn't seem like a nest for the basilisk, because for as much as we know basilisks, it doesn't seem like that they would be in a... I thought that was one of you guys. Oh my gosh. Relp. Rip. Sorg has no chill, man. Yeah, they look like hornet's nests. Thanks to Toby and everybody, I have quite a bit of embers to summon people in. Andrea Zaffi, thanks for the follow. Gyrost! You can't see me, but I am shaking a righteous fist. And yeah, it's what we know about fungus is really the head fungus from Dark Souls 1. We don't see any of those worms at all in Dark Souls 3. But, it feels like they had more of a role after Dark Souls 1. Those head, guys. But we don't see them, obviously. And also notice how there is no fire the deeper you go. This is all kind of a smoldering on fire, but it's not so much. I agree, Memitin. We don't see any dumb flying enemies like there was in Dark Souls, in Demon Souls. Chochetti? Chochetti? Yeah, Chochoti. Thanks for the follow. Nice to see you. And just another emo nerd. Thanks for the follow. So you've got the marks of things that have passed by. And like, I don't think the rats would have made something like that at all. And it looks like an ant's nest or a hornet's nest. It's much more... Rats. Who would win in a fight? Souls rats or Souls dogs? And they all got mullets like the Royal Rat Authority. Yeah, like there's no flame down here. It's all water. Which lends a lot of credence to the fact that it's probably Ash Lake. But yeah, that is very interesting to note. Like I said, I have this weird sense of humor. I'm like this weird sense of direction. Like, I'll know where I'm going. Actually, I've got this new boulder. Yeah. Boulder doesn't do too badly, actually. It's got a weird range, though. There's the Femulture Greatsword and Black Iron Great Shield. Both of which from 1 and 2, respectively. That's a Pyromancy over there. That's Sacred Flame. And then that's nothing. That's an item gank. But that's a Pyromancy. I'll get that when I'm not like with somebody. So let's get rid of this knight and then I'll read that stuff. You know, Boulder's not too bad, actually. If it hits pretty hard. Well, it's got a weird range. I'm gonna grab the bow. I don't know if 2 knights could have done it. And there's a lot of like the sword they use in Dark Souls 1 used as environmental detail. Like if you look around, they're all kind of impaled on their own swords and stuff like that. And it's the sword you can get in Dark Souls 1. I forget what it's called. It's got a name. It's actually got a really bad drop rate. I don't think I ever got it in my platinum run, but I didn't really farm for it. As far as I did farming in Dark Souls 1, it was like a week and maybe a half of trying to get a slab from a Dark Wraith, and I never got one. I got like many multiples of everything else, but I did not get a slab. Gentlemen? Ha ha ha. The boulder's so weird. Oh my god, so many. So many dark hand drops. And I was like looking at the wiki with utter disbelief because it's like dark hand drops 0.1% of the time, and I got like so many. Let me see if we can't pull one of these guys. Lock-on's a little bit finicky. I thought he was gonna fall right through the world. Let's go turn off this overgrown Avalon. This is actually kind of sad too. Let me turn it off first. Let me first point out that there is a +1 or there's a +2 or actually a +1 or a +2 ring like hanging out right over here somewhere. I forget which ring this is. But it seems like even Carthus was using giant slave labor to man their huge weapons of war. And they had a couple of these slave giants just hanging out, doing this. But as Carthus fell, they just had nowhere else to go, and they like sat there and petrified, because they look kind of mummified, petrified. And so, who knows how long these guys have been here. Yeah, loss of stamina. Comfort. Giantsdom. Giants and undead. They really don't have a very nice life. And yeah, calcified. They don't have a really great time of it in Dark Souls, do they? So you get dropped off pretty much where you started. Big crabs are over there. Yeah. Being able to actually die and not come back up again is a blessing in the Souls series. And remember, like even in Demon Souls, you start off as a regular person, and you die in the prologue / tutorial, but your soul is trapped by the Nexus. You're not like undead in Demon Souls. Your soul is trapped by the Nexus, and you can regain your body and stuff like that if you really want to. But yeah, I'm gonna pick up Cuculus because I want her armor, and then I'll probably dry finger it. And pick up Toby. Just know that if Cuculus dies, I have to restart the boss fight, so. Cuculus is pretty cool. One Guppy, thanks for the follow. I love her armor, so I at least try to have it. I at least try to do it. Kylan Chen, thanks for the follow. Hashtag, your challenge, should you accept it, is protect Cuculus. Because, well, she's pretty stout. Notice how this guy's only got one eye. I should have attuned poison too, because he's susceptible to poison. Pop or just gonna push that back out, yeah. Let the poison handle it. Cuculus is still alive. This is the only subquest where you have to keep the NPC. He does try and fight, but yeah, he basically just kind of gives up at his last gasp. So why do you go through all that trouble? Well, I pointed it out a little bit, but we'll go into this a little bit more. My dog is unamused. Loki's like, just staring at me like, I don't know. Yeah, her corpse is by Cornix's cage, where you pick up the hand axe. And if you just pick up the hand axe, that's about it. But alright, longbow of the Dragon Riders, who served the old king of Want, Dragon Rider Bow. The Dragon Riders were the old king's royal guard, and great strength was demanded of them. Merely drawing this bow calls for inhuman strength. The worthy few who can master this bow, however, use it to devastating effect. Skill, puncture. Pull the arrow even further back for a more powerful shot that can also pierce shields. This was a great bow for strength builds in Dark Souls 2. It's probably the same. Thanks, Mimitim. Have fun. It's still a great strength scaling weapon. We picked up the Izalith stats. Ancient catalyst of the Witch of Izalith and her daughters, used long before the dawn of chaos and pyromancy. Because somebody brought this up on one of my videos a long time ago, but like what happened, actually no, it wasn't my videos, it was one of Aegon's videos, because we were talking about the evolution of sorcery in Souls and how it split apart and how those two separate civilizations kind of othered one another, even though they came from the same place. Now, fire sorcery was certainly a thing in Dark Souls 1, pre-Dark Souls 1. Demon Fire Sage is described as the last guy who knew demon fire sorcery. And this staff also suggests fire sorcery. Because this staff was a catalyst used before Chaos and Pyromancy. With the birth of the Chaos Flame, the Flame Witches were at once both sorcerers and shaman. Faith adjusts the power of sorceries cast using this catalyst, and the staff also seems to boost the power of dark sorceries. This is a really common trope Souls likes to pull. It's actually a lot more sharp in Demon Souls. You have Sage Frake, who is on one side of the Nexus, and you have Saint Urbane on the other side. They're literally the left and right sides of you. And Saint Urbane and Sage Frake despise one another. But when you find the Talisman of Beasts, the Talisman of Beasts specifically says that sorceries and miracles all came from the same place and all came from the great old demon guy made of trees at the very end. But they split apart, and then they kind of tribalized one another, and they othered one another. It's very much the same here. Pyromancy and sorcery are othered from one another, and they completely forgot that they came from exactly the same place. Nijiki Wee, thanks for the follow. And they came especially from the same place. But people love tribalizing one another, and they love creating these divisions. And Souls in general likes showing these people the irony of what they are. See here. Shield of what? Shield of an ancient king who was cursed by an all-consuming thirst. Maybe the all-consuming thirst was his wife, and it just kind of conflates here. In the end, he was no king. The residue of the king's lust still smolders within the shield, increasing the number of souls absorbed when enemies are defeated. Now again, as memory kind of moves and wanes and ebbs and flows, facts get lost, and facts kind of merge within one another. And this is the result of it. Black Iron Great Shield. Great shield made of black iron, deeply feared for its association with Night Slayer Sorg. Black iron offers high defense and is particularly effective at warding off fire. No mention of Black Iron Tarkus, because Sorg's legacy is so blood-drenched and so fresh in everybody's mind, and Black Iron Tarkus is so far away that, like, Black Iron Tarkus is completely buried by this new memory that is so sharp in everybody's mind. Yeah. Such a savage. Such a savage. Alright, this way. So, this is the body that carries a hand axe. And this is the new body. This is Cuculus. So apparently she kind of goes off on this quest, and whether she actually succeeds or not is hard to do, but she succeeds with your help in your world, which is partially close enough, which is why she has to live. And so in your world, So, okay, let me back up a little bit. In person, Cuculus does not succeed. She comes here and she sits down. But spiritually, as a phantom, she succeeds under your leadership. And so after succeeding, at least spiritually, she is able, like, you can see her in your world because her memory of her is in your world now. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it makes sense to me. Cuculus? It's a bird. And Cornyx. This is Cornyx's garb. So here's an alternative way of thinking about this. This is actually Cornyx. The Cornyx we meet here is maybe a memory that you take into your service, which allows him to teleport out. And this is actually Cornyx. But why Cuculus would have to survive her fight to have Cornyx's body actually show up is hard to say. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, Cornyx being just Ash kind of makes sense. And but Cuculus doesn't really neatly explain why Cuculus has to survive her fight. And we don't meet Cuculus as an NPC, we only meet her as a phantom, and I want to say she's the only phantom in Dark Souls 3 that is just a phantom. Like, I think every phantom you end up meeting as an NPC, as a NPC within your world. Even Soreg, you have to fight him in person rather than just a black phantom, or see him as a friendly phantom. You have to fight him anyway. I think every summonable NPC you do see their physical form except Cuculus. Vodka, it's nice to see you. Have a great night. We're wrapping up too. But Cuculus is really pretty interesting in that way. She has to complete her quest in the smoldering ruins for this body to appear, and it carries Cornyx's attire. Now, Cornyx's attire says the following, and it's about Cornyx. Attire of Cornyx, pyromancer of the Great Swamp. In the Great Swamp, it was customary to adorn oneself with articles of nature. Cornyx favored the use of raven's feathers. Ravens are said to have once been Firelink messengers, or, Velka, guiding the undead to the land of ancient gods. If I'm not mistaken, Cuculus is also wearing this instead of Conjurator, which is Dark Souls 1's pyromancer guy, Laurentius, and the pyromancer Garb. She is wearing this too, which marks her as his apprentice also. And since I love this attire so much, I'm just going to switch now. But I don't like the skirt so much, so... yeah. So, yeah. So ravens are thought to be Firelink messengers, which is true because there was that big-ass raven in Dark Souls 1, so that memory remained. And so there's a bunch of feathers that looks like a raven as Cornyx's garb. And they also have that copper stuff that also figures into the normal pyromancer stuff. And to refresh everyone's memory about that, bronze ornamentation. And bronze was used ritualistically to ward off evil spirit and keep darkness at bay. Very similar to how the old hunters had bronze around their right leg. But used for the same thing. So let's head back to Firelink and get a couple of... finish off leveling. Toby. You know, you should tell Aegon that. Because Aegon has been driving himself nuts trying to figure out what embers are. Yeah! Holy crap, I like that a lot! I like that a lot! Toby, I super duper like that a lot. It's times like these I wish I had a camera, because you could see, you would be able to see the smile a mile away. I like that a lot. You should tell it, like, either you will or I'll tweet Aegon later. Be like, my stream viewer Toby was like, such a good idea. Okay, where's my, okay. Izalith Pyromancy Tome. A Pyromancy Tome from Izalith containing pyromancies of the witches. Note how the cover looks like tree bark. Give to the old master pyromancer to learn chaos pyromancies of Izalith. Chaos pyromancies manipulate lava and birthed all later forms of pyromancy. Quaylana Pyromancy Tome, also wrapped in the gold-hemmed robes from Dark Souls 1 that you will see later on Lothric. A Pyromancy Tome of Quaylana containing her unique spells. These pyromancies can only be taught by a female master. Give to a female master to learn Quaylana's pyromancies. Quaylana, the sole surviving witch of Izalith, once accepted a human pupil, but after the pupil moved on, she never took another. Gramps.
There you are, unkindled one.
So, like, yeah, I think Cuculus somewhat failed in her quest, but she, from beyond the grave, she kind of succeeded as being a phantom for you. Which probably is why she has to survive that boss fight to get the reward.
Ah, what have we here? A pyromancy tome from Izalith. Then you found the home of pyromancy. Brilliant! I will never curse being old and undead again. Now, show it here, quickly. Let us channel them together. The primal pyromancies known only to old Master Salaman.
Okay. And then if you try and give him the Quaylana Pyromancy Tome, even though it tells you, hand to woman.
By the gods, this inscription reads, Quaylana, the ancient deity, one of the witches of Izalith. The last of them who wandered the lands.
Awesome, Toby.
Return to Izalith after all. But I regret to say, I cannot accept this. Quaylana's pyromancies are for witches and must be learned from a mistress. But thank you for allowing me to peer upon such a thing. If only I were a woman.
It's a long-running Souls thing. And it's really awkward to try and explain. Basically, there's a difference between genders. Sage Frake is very pointed about this, because Yuria is the same Yuria from Dark Souls 3 and Demon Souls, but there's no, quote, hexes in Demon Souls. There's just whatever Yuria in Demon Souls does. It's also thought of as sorcery, but Sage Frake kind of looks at Yuria and he's like, I want to know what she knows, but I don't understand it because she's a woman. And grill magic is different from what I've got, and I can't understand it. Like, Sage Frake makes a big stink about the fact that she's a woman, and therefore has all these different sorceries that he wants to learn because Sage Frake wants power. but he doesn't know yet. So he's got like this huge amount of jealousy. And that's something that has been in every Souls game since, to varying extents. In Dark Souls 3, there is a very specific delineation between magic that has to be learned from a woman because it is woman's magic, and everything else. It's very awkward to even try and explain, but it's something that has been in every Souls game to varying extents. Hey, Firefox just crashed. My computer's a toaster, for those who don't know. My computer's a huge toaster. So now we can learn Chaos Storm, and we can learn Great Chaos Fire Orb. I'm gonna pick this up, and I'm gonna pick this up. Probably. It doesn't go into it that way, but probably.
Welcome home, Ashen One. Speak thine heart's desire. Very well. Then touch the darkness within me.
Side note, one of the most broken builds in Demon Souls is getting the Talisman of Beasts and not having the stats to wield it. It's called Cracked. And then you can get Cursed Weapon off of Uria, and a Cracked Talisman of Beasts removes all the downsides from having the Cracked Talisman of Beasts, because you can't actually wield it, but you can still use it. It's so weird. Yeah, maybe it has to do something with reading the tome, but it's like, it's so weird. It's so weird.
You oft the Lords of Cinder. The Undeath.
Okay, we already heard that. It's really interesting, but it's kind of odd. We turn in a shard, and then let's go run over and see if we can't really quick kill Volnir. If you want to come, you're welcome to it. If you want to. It's funny how most of the Catacombs of Carthus is actually just the Smoldering Lake and Demon Central. It's almost like it isn't really the Catacombs of Carthus, but most people think it is. Can I use this yet? No? Oh, it's 2 slots. If you wanna, come right ahead. If not, then it's no big. No biggie. If you want to help, go ahead. It's more, co-oping is more just to give everybody a bit of fun. That cheeky wave. Chains, a censer. This little area is so very different from the rest of everything. There's lots of chains, there's a censer, bunch of rugs, a door. It looks like there used to be writing there, but it's kind of all rubbed off. Like, it's not an incomplete texture, it's just the writing's kind of rubbed itself off. There is no parrying. I love how the Havoc Cloth physics engine loves the little feathers. Yay, alright. Let me go touch a goblet. Be a bad ashen one. Ashen one, please stop touching things that don't belong to you. Please? No? You don't learn your lesson after the first time and you go touch an egg too? Ashen ones. Fun fact, he tries to item gank you. There's a sword. Gonna do a Wrath of the Gods. The range is a little weird. Get some out of that. And that's him. And that's pretty much the end of Act 2. I want everybody to take a special note of that big medallion above the door. There is a tree on it, and it is very similar to the tree in front of, well, at least in the hallway of Looking Glass Knight. Those are all tree roots over there. Just like right above the head. Not the only time there is trees on a thing in Dark Souls. I know, but that's of some importance, I think. Now, the one thing we did pick up is this thing. A Pyromancy Tome of the Grave Wardens from the Carthus Catacombs. Give to the Pyromancer Master to learn black flame sorceries. High Lord Volnir of Carthus succumbed to the abyss, but the Pyromancer later became a Grave Warden and discovered the black flame. That's why I think that these ashes are actually of Volnir. The old man began as a squire, carrying his master's accoutrements. He ended his days a grave warden and carried them still. High Lord Volnir started as a squire, became a conqueror, thought he had this way of getting rid of the curse by creating a crown, and when that didn't work, in his desperation, because he sentenced countless souls to gruesome death, keen to outlive them all. He wanted to outlive them all, and thus he tried to create that crown, but it didn't work. And so on his deathbed, he got all these clerics to make these bracelets, but that kind of succumbed him to the abyss. But he became a grave warden once he was succumbed to the abyss and found the black flame. Because he was always a pyromancer. Carthus people always are. And some other things we didn't read. Soul of a Demon. Demons were born of the chaos flame, but the flame has not survived, and the demons are a dying race. Old Demon King. The shriveled old Demon King is now like a clump of burnt ash, but he is the last living witness of the chaos of Izalith. The flame has not survived, and you'll find that the flame is in the rubbish heap, which apparently is in the real world anyway. All of this is not the real world. Carthus itself might be attached to Aldrich or Yorm's real world fiefdom. Probably Aldrich, but it's hard to tell. That's why I make the catacombs and Smoldering Lake its own act.
Welcome home, I shall speak thine
So
heart.
while I level up and get all that stuff done, does anyone have any questions, thoughts, concerns, anything?
Very well, then touch the Ignaru.
I only got like one level out of that. Even this out, I guess. 12-9.
Farewell, Ashen One. Welcome home. Speak very well, then to take none. Farewell, Ashen One.
Ah, how gracious. Passing fine ash thou'st given. Let this ashly stone nourish it. I only hope these new wares content thee. Ashen One.
And just in case you want to try and give Cornix this weird thing you just found,
afraid I cannot accept this. This Pyromancy tome is dark and delves into the depths of men where an untouchable flame resides. I cannot comprehend this myself, let alone teach it to you. It is a spell forbidden in the Great Swamp, and nearly everywhere else too. Only one terribly afflicted or burdened by deep sorrow could begin to understand this.
Afflicted in this case, I'm pretty sure means insane. It's old-timey speak for insanity. Yeah. Can't do that.
Not be gone for long.
Well met. 'Tis good to see ye in good health.
I'm gonna have to throw that together. And I don't have any more shards.
But be careful.
Okay. So these are my stats as we finish up today. Just in case you are interested. Is there anything anybody wants to talk about real quick, or any questions or anything like that? Feel free to drop them in there. I really like that, Toby. I'm going to be mulling that over as I watch some YouTube later. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to all the people who followed and decided to listen to my ramblings, even if Firefox crashed its tabs right before Volnir. Let me see if there's any other people I can thank for following. Man, if you breathe on my computer wrong, it'll crash something. I don't know. Albalon7777, thanks for the follow. I think you're the only one I missed. Gabriel Jesus 125, I did miss you. Thanks for the follow. Left Foot Sasquatch, thanks for the follow. Thank you all. Thanks for joining me. And until next stream, my thanks. Good night, everybody.